welcome to the PALEYFEST Fall TV Previews. I'm Jose Alejandro Bastidas, TV editor for The Wrap, and I'm delighted to be your host for this special conversation celebrating the new season of Fox's Doc. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome members of the series' cast and creative team. Joining us are series stars Molly Parker, Dr. Amy Larsen, Amirah Vann, Dr. Gina Walker, Jon Ecker, Dr. Jake Heller, Patrick Walker, Dr. TJ Coleman, Felicity Huffman, Dr. Joan Ridley, and co-showrunners and executive producers Barbie, Kligman and Steinberg. Welcome, everyone. Let's start our program. So to kick things off, Doc first premiered this January as a new wave of medical shows were popping up across streaming and broadcast. And it found a strong and devoted audience pretty quickly. For everyone, maybe kicking things off with Barbie, why do you think viewers resonated so much with this show?
Well, we have an exceptional cast. So I think that, that's definitely a big draw. I think people always love a good medical show. They've been around forever. They will continue long after I'm gone. I think this show had something special about it, centered around Molly and Dr. Larsen and her second chance. And I think most people can relate to the idea of if I got a do-over or if I got a chance to do it again. So I think all those factors contributed to that.
Molly, to kick us off on the cast side, why do you think the show has resonated so much with viewers?
I mean, I can tell you why I love why I sort of fell in love with Amy and the characters in this scenario. And I assume that's why people like it. It's what I love about the show. And it's really just that there's this sort of central, the scenario of a woman who's lost this huge chunk of her life creates opportunity to look at so many different aspects of her character and how that ripples out to everyone she knows. And, this one trauma, this one car accident creates a lot of potential, but storytelling potential and potential for drama and mystery. One of the things I love about the show is it operates as a sort of medical procedural, and every week we have this sort of new mystery illness, and people seem to love that. But at the center of it are these characters and how they're navigating their way through the discomfort of Amy's problem. And I don't know, it's, the thing about having amnesia, it sounds so far out, but this is based on a true story. This is based on a doctor in Italy who also was in an accident and lost 12 years of his memory and had to work to become a doctor again, and to, I think he said that, he learned that he had really become like a machine. He describes himself like before the accident, he was like a machine, and it gave him this opportunity to become just to get in touch with his humanity. So I think that's part of it.
Yeah. Definitely. And, season one was such a great starting point for the show, just giving us the laydown on the dynamics, like the different characters and all the medical cases, the soapy drama, just all of the goodness that people have come to love with it, to love the show for. And now Fox is giving you an even bigger canvas with 22 episodes for season 2. So for Barbie and Hank first, how does this order change your approach to crafting the arcs that we're going to go through?
We have intravenous vitamin B and other nutrients constantly in us. This is the only time I don't have it into my arm. It's been a long time since I've done 22, and I actually have thrown out my back, and I'm sitting here with vitamin C packets. So and we're on episode 6. So
it's one day at a time.
Let's talk in January and see. It's an opportunity to stretch the storytelling. I mean, last year we had a whole lot of story condensed into 10 episodes. I think we would have wanted 13 or 15. Now we've got 22. And so it does allow us to widen also the storytelling and to expand with, the supporting characters that were orbiting around Amy in a way where everyone can get even more dimensionalized. And that's going to be really exciting if we don't die.
Good thing we have a bunch of TV doctors on the call.
Yeah, exactly.
And for you guys in the cast, what was your reaction to learning that we were going to get, more than double the episodes for this season and this chance to explore your characters further?
I mean, it was such an honor and also completely terrifying at the same time. I mean, I don't know about anyone else, but I was elated and horrified sort of simultaneously, because it is a tremendous amount of story and work to move through, particularly for the writers. But the show has such heart. And I think, I also think we're in a moment when people really kind of want that. They want to be able to watch it every week. They want to be able to come back and not have it be sort of done in one weekend, have some sort of consistency in terms of their viewing pleasure. And so we aim to please in that way.
Amirah, or anyone else, if you want to say.
I think it's wonderful. I think 22 episodes is fantastic. I think there's so many characters, and so there's so many storylines. And I mean, I was blown away when I read the pilot episode, because I was like, oh my goodness. And then I met Hank, and, I just realized, I was like, oh, this is a room of really smart people who really care about the human condition, who also care about how it resonates emotionally, physically, in the body. And it just was like, this is going to be what a great deep dive and character study into getting an opportunity to have a second chance at life and be a best friend and play a professional, and how the personal life kind of crosses over with the professional life. And that's for every character. So I think it's terribly exciting. And I am a fan of everyone's work who we're working with. So to be able, every time we sit at a table read-through, it's actually quite exciting to find out more about, my peers and their journey and their arcs. So I think 22 is great. And I agree with Molly. I'm like, I sit down and like, I've been sometimes now binging, you just do it too quickly. It's like, there's something sweet about, I think we all kind of got over that phase of wanting to binge. And it's just like, it's something very sweet and I guess kind of like old school to be able to be like, great, we're going to tune in, and let's like kind of get prepared for that and kind of just like pace ourselves and enjoy television and talk about it and maybe have some discussion, and talk about it with our husbands and wives. And that's another wonderful thing, that husbands and wives are watching with their children and moms are watching. And it seems to really kind of tap into all of those personal feelings that across the board, age and everything. So that's great.
There was a woman on set today who was a background performer, and we were shooting something in between takes. She said, I just have to tell you, I love this show so much. And I hear that all the time. Like that's so, I mean, that just feels fantastic.
I love that. Yeah, let's bring back the water cooler moment and just talk about it. Bring that community back to TV for sure. And I feel like nothing did that like the season 1 finale of Doc with that major cliffhanger. I remember the first time I watched Jake catching on to Amy and Michael in those final moments. I was like, crazy. This is what you're leaving us with for the whole summer. So now, you're deep into season 2 production, so you kind of know where the show is going, obviously being mindful of spoilers, but how soon after that big cliffhanger moment does the story pick up in season 2? And how central is this love triangle to the show moving forward?
We can't tell you that, Jose. It's Barbie, you want to?
Yeah.
We're not cutting to 5 years later. We can tell you that. From there.
we're picking up pretty soon after, so everyone will find out what happened. And I'd say the love triangle is always, I mean, she comes out of the accident. What she feels for Michael is always, they will always be inextricably linked. What she feels for Jake is a chemistry that just exists regardless of remembering. And so there will always be some element of it. Which direction we're going in, I'm not going to tell you. But there's always going to be the push and pull because I guess you can, maybe in slightly different ways, but I guess you can love two people at the same time.
No, I gotta try, gotta try for answers so I can. But that's good. And one thing that we got from the preview that I'm very excited about, because I've talked to you, Molly, about this before, but your character is very complex and you have to kind of navigate two separate timelines, pre-car accident, post-car accident, like the flashbacks and all that stuff. But then the preview is introducing these flashes of potential memory coming back. So now we're getting this third timeline, which we are not sure if it's too reliable or not, but just kind of throws another wrench into another very complicated role. So how does that change your approach to playing Amy in season 2?
Yeah, I mean, I think, if you're telling a story about a woman who's lost her memory, at some point you want to start finding out what's in there. And one of the so she does have something starts to happen, and she starts to be sort of given these images, these flashes, and she's not sure what they are, what they mean, and that mystery is in some ways she becomes, she's like this detective of her own life. So she's doing her daily thing of, trying to be a better doctor, trying to mend these relationships that she's damaged over years, and at the same time just investigate herself, and I sort of love the conceit, because you end up being able to kind of have what is essentially an inner journey externalized and visualized, and so all that to say, she has the odd possibly memory, and has to figure out what, if anything, that means, if it's her unconscious pointing her in a certain direction, or is it even real? We don't know. So some of that gets investigated.
Ooh, that's just juicy, and I can't wait to see it all unfold. And of course, there were a lot of question marks after that finale, and we can't wait to see where the characters we already know are at when we check back in. But I know viewers can't wait to see what will come with the arrival of Dr. Joan Ridley as the new chief of internal medicine. So Felicity, what can you tell us about your new character, and how does her arrival shake things up for Amy and everyone else?
Well, it's a bit unconventional, but she's actually throwing her hat in the ring for Amy's affections as well. So it's not just a love triangle, it's a love rectangle.
Yeah.
There's some showers.
I love that.
And it's kind of crazy. What can I tell you? Joan Ridley is named after Jon Ridley. So that's interesting, the last time we talked. And, Barbie and Hank have written a really cool iconoclast of a character. She lives for her work, but she's kind of rock and roll. I think, she's been a doctor without borders for a long time. I think she slept with one of the Rolling Stones, and she was probably there in some Black Hawk Down. So she's really fun to play, and I really enjoy her, and I love her courage and her bravery. And it's lovely being with such a good, kind, talented cast. And when Barbie and Hank aren't drunk, they're amazing.
I love that. I love that. And I'm sure that there will be different dynamics there, although I can't wait to see what fans call the Amy Joan ship once those sparks start flying. But
Well,
I
it
did hear
can't be
another.
Jamie because that's taken already. So they'll have to
Right.
think of something else. Yeah.
Right. Start brainstorming. That's what the whiteboard behind you is for, Barbie, right? um, but one person that I've heard at least is not going to be too enamored with Joan from the start is Gina. So yeah, I see you, Amirah. And she's already kind of on shaky ground with Amy after their confrontation in the finale. So, all of these different dynamics going on. How does that bode for Gina's journey this season? Where's she
Listen,
headed?
I think Gina, the great thing is like first season, we saw Gina just being ultra supportive, a warm place to land, warm, safe, honest place to land. And I think second season, it's hard carrying the burdens of everyone all around. And I think we get to kind of see, because that finale also, that was her patient. Ian was her patient. So she
Right.
cared for him dearly. And, in all seriousness, that does really, that's a blow to her ambition, to her confidence, the fact that would be her patient who caused all of that. And then at the end of the day, also committed suicide. So like, that's the heavy burden she's carrying. And then
Yeah.
Joan comes in and she's not, she doesn't like her. They have some history. But the jury's out. I don't think it's that simple. I don't know what Felicity feels, but it's also really difficult because Felicity is so lovely and all of her choices are so interesting and dynamic. It's very hard to keep a straight face and be mean when you're opposite such a wonderful actress who's making it super fun to to play with.
No, definitely. No, it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, just kind of like how the dynamics get shaken up, and I don't know too much about the premiere just yet, but I've heard that it certainly packs an emotional punch. For you, Patrick, and your character, and you kind of has also been butting heads a little bit with Amy, sensing a little bit of a pattern. But yeah, what can you tell us about what's out for your character this year?
No spoilers.
So I think there is like a love octagon happening at some point. I think we're gonna hit a few more points with that. No, I'm really excited. I'm very excited about having 22 episodes. Number one, I think that's a great opportunity to explore character. I think all of us get into this business to like be other people and to try other things outside of ourselves. So in episode one, something does happen that I've never experienced, as I'm sure nobody on this call is.
Since I know Hank is keeping a watchful eye, but I mean, I didn't miss the part of something happens that hasn't happened to anyone on this call, which sounds scary, but not even a hint, not even a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on?
Oh,
This
definitely. It will be dramatic.
I love it. Gotta tune
Premiere
in.
worthy.
It will be dramatic and premiere worthy. Yeah.
Premiere worthy. I love it. I love it. And yeah, and I mean, as we're moving along, people are gonna wait to see what Jake's reaction to what he saw at the end of the finale is, and what comes after all of that. We've gotten to kind of used to his puppy dog approach to his relationship with Amy, and I'm guessing this is gonna get shaken up. Hopefully, maybe. And I do know that we are going to meet Jake's family this season. So how does that add to the already complicated proceedings for Jake, John?
Yeah, I mean, obviously how the season ends adds an added obstacle to Jake and Amy's relationship. And I think Jake has a history which we'll delve into more, bringing his ex-wife and stuff into play. So he obviously has some, I guess, some issues with infidelity and women not treating him right. So what he sees at the end of the season definitely kind of comes full circle and just adds an added hiccup in their relationship. It's a difficult situation. I mean, she woke up 8 years later, basically still in love with her ex-husband, and doesn't remember everything that happened between them. So how you kind of handle that situation as the new boyfriend, because on one hand I'm empathetic and I understand she's still in love with this man, but you don't want to be the plan B. So I'm also very interested to see how all that gets fleshed out, and that's why this, as everybody else said, why we're so excited about having 22 episodes. There's just a lot more room for these stories to breathe, bring in other characters, other family members, other relationships, and we'll just see how that gets fleshed out over the 22 episodes.
For sure, for sure. And I mean, you guys are tackling a lot of really difficult topics, and there's like, the medical stuff, the soapy stuff. It's heavy. So how do you guys kind of like lean on each other to get through it and still have fun while you're going through all this chaos with your characters?
I think we all come to my house and we have, which is kind of true. The cast we came to my house for my daughter turned 1. And I think, that's one of the lovely things about this group of people. We get the privilege to do something that we love, and do it with other people who are just as caring and loving and compassionate. And so I think that kind of helps, to check in, it's a constant check-in. Just to make sure everyone's kind of physically well, mentally well, to step away and just kind of talk about something other than the show and remember that, the whole reason the show is great is because we're telling stories about real people. So it's always sometimes nice to step away and experience real life every now and then. It's a good reminder of what we're meant to do.
We're pretty lucky. We have an incredible cast and I mean, not, and these people here that we're talking with, but also our guest stars. We have some incredible actors. I mean, I love. I think just the casting on the show is fantastic, and we've into our 6th episode now, and I'm so excited about who I get to work with every day. It's a real honor and pleasure, and we try to create a place that we want to come to work. It's a long time. It takes 10 months to shoot 22 episodes. And you need the place that you come every day to be, we all want to do great work and we all want to be sane and healthy too. And I think, we're managing to pull that off and have a really good time.
Which is so impressive because Hank and I are not managing to be sane and healthy, but we are trying to do great work. So.
But they're somewhere else.
We're so glad you guys are.
Yeah, we're working on it.
This is the best group. I've done a bunch of these now. This is the best, most cohesive, mutually supportive group of cast that I've been around. And there's an old adage that you have a super nice cast, the show is canceled after 6 episodes, and when you have maniacs, the show goes for 10 years. Somehow we are actually
proving that
managing to have both a healthy, sane, really, really great, supportive atmosphere with everyone and connect with audiences. So it's certainly for a lot of us who've been doing this for a while, it's quite nice to have both.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And it's interesting just the fact that the show has been able to cut through, as I mentioned earlier, the medical genre is something that's been tried and true. There's a lot of shows out there. And Barbie, you specifically, you've worked on on several medical shows before. So what makes this show different? What are the elements that you need to hit to keep the audience engaged?
Well, I think this show has more character than most, which I think helps us, because I do think whatever the show is, I think that's what people are watching for. As much as they like a good medical mystery, it's the prism through which it's told that actually differentiates the show, aside from, this one will do that twist and that one will do the other twist. But there's certain stories you're going to see on every show. You'll see a vaccination story. You might see an abortion story. You might see a contagion, but it's because you care about the characters that you have. And I think all of that starts with Amy and Amy's journey, which interested all of us from the Italian version before it became Amy. And then that much more when we created Amy, and then even more when Molly embodied Amy and took her places we didn't even know she could go. And then you surround her with all these wonderful characters, but who are all complicated with their own histories and their own lives. And nothing is, we're very careful that nobody is one thing, because we feel really strongly about that, because in life, nobody is one thing. So, you don't go through your life with a big bad. There's no big bad in my life. There's people who can sometimes be assholes, but there's no, everyone has everything in them, I think. And we try to do that as best we can with our characters as well.
Awesome. Well, I know we can't wait to see where this goes next. And Molly, I know you'll be great and getting us headlining this crazy story. And I just can't wait to see, what's next for your character. So yeah, if you could give us just one teaser, like more than premiere worthy, not to side eye Barbie and Hank. Yeah, I mean, for 6 episodes in, what can you tell us? Tell us something.
The premiere episode will change the trajectory of everyone's lives,
including yours,
including mine. Yeah, I'm invested. I can't wait to see it. But no, I really appreciate you guys. I really appreciate your time, and the characters and the story really is what pushes and what at least for me as a viewer, what keeps me invested. And I can't wait to really see where these relationships go and where the drama goes next. So I can't wait to see it.
Well, we still appreciate your support and you wanting to take the time with us. It means a lot. You have a lot of shows to choose from, even a lot of medical shows to choose from, and you picked us. So thank you for that.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jose.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining us for the special PALEYFEST Fall TV Previews conversation with Fox's Doc, which returns for its 2nd season on Tuesday, September 23rd. You can enjoy more of these programs by clicking the subscribe button below. Thanks.